Welcome to another edition of Transparency in Government. We recently spoke with our town manager, Kevin Smith, about what's going on around town, and now we're going to talk to our school district people to find out what's happening on their side of the aisle. We have with us Nate Greenberg, our superintendent, and Scott, the last name just went out of my head.
Laliberte.
Well, that's it. He's right. That's it. And Scott, we're going to start off with Scott because he's going to tell us some exciting news about how good he is at getting grants, for one thing.
Well, we're very, very excited about this. For the third year in a row, our teachers and students received a grant from the Bosch Corporation, from, as you know, a manufacturing facility here in town, but certainly a much larger focus for them worldwide. Oh, yeah. And they're at the corporate level, they have something that they call their community fund. And for the third year in a row, we are going to receive a grant. This year, the grant will be focused in grade 5, and it will be sponsoring a pilot for a pre-engineering program for 5th grade students who are interested and capable. We're going to pilot it at South School. Very excited about it. Martha Miller is going to be one of the teachers that will be working with it, and Rich Levergood, who's of course our outstanding high school physics teacher, is actually going to be going to South School after school to work with 5th graders with a group. The intention is for us to develop this as a pilot program and develop the materials and whatnot. And then next year, what we're intending to do is offer it at all 3 of our elementary schools.
So that's exciting.
So it's pretty exciting stuff. Students are enthusiastic. Of course, the staff. Yeah. The staff is very excited too. But it's just such a nice example of that type of corporate stewardship and investment in local communities by Bosch.
Now, when you say engineering, you can go in so many different directions with that word. Is that the intent?
Right.
Is to kind of let the students figure out where they want to go with it?
What we've done, we have over the last couple of years, we've been doing some work really in all 13 of our grade levels on introducing what we're calling STEM integration. And
Which
STEM
stands
integration
for science, technology, engineering and math.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something that we're modeling after for those of us, and I'm more from the art side, my own experience.
Oh, are you? Yeah.
I'm a former English teacher, so
that's
of course
two sides
you probably,
of your brain.
I just have to make sure they talk to each other.
Some of us can't use one side.
Well, what we're trying to do is model this after the arts integration movement, which, as you know, has been around for years, and it is very, very successful, and presents a lot of opportunities for students and artists and residents and teachers to integrate into the regular curriculum area. We sort of modeled STEM integration after that. Oh, okay. And in fact, some districts are calling their STEM programs STEAM, where they're adding the arts into the middle of it.
That's cute.
And we said we want to get to that point. We aspire to get to that point, but we're just getting started with the STEM part, and our arts integration program is pretty well developed.
Terrific.
But one of the things that we're able to do, particularly at the elementary school level, is introduce the whole process of engineering, which focuses more on the idea of identifying a problem, prototyping a solution, testing the prototype, finding those areas that are not successful, and then solving the problem. So we've focused on that with our younger students, and this program will be focused around that process. And what the teachers will do is they will bring in different challenges and problems for the students to solve and for them to create solutions to those problems.
It sounds like our old Olympics of the mind, only on a regular basis.
It really is pretty close to those lines, only just a little closer to the core curriculum.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah. Well, I've got a nephew going into the 5th grade, and if he hears about this, he's going to want to move in with me so he can go to school here. He just loves to build things and create things. So
I know a lot of kids do.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, the other 2 grants that because this is the 3rd one that you've gotten, and the other 2 were along the same lines, or were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Bosch Corporation does this on an annual basis.
Right.
Last year, with a community fund grant we received, we put together we call it Genius Hour at the middle school. Yeah. And it's very similar to what you may have heard of as a maker space. And basically what happens is students can identify a project or a problem that they'd like to solve within the school, or something that they'd like to learn more about.
Okay.
And they do it in an independent way, but with supportive teachers during and after the school day.
Okay.
And Bosch was very generous in supporting us, and they provided us with some computers that kids could use specifically for this
fantastic.
purpose. We got a 3D printer.
Oh,
Some of the kids were able to do
printer. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
had,
know that you had one of those.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and we have we had students doing projects on filmmaking and stop motion animation.
That's great. That's
We
fun.
had- yeah,
We've done a
yeah.
little bit of that over here.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was focused at the middle school level. The year before that, the Bosch grant actually supported a flipped learning initiative for a high school math. And Rebecca McMahon, who's one of our high school math teachers, piloted the project. I don't know if you are familiar with the concept of flipped learning.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. It's what the teachers do is teachers will actually record themselves. They'll do a video recording of themselves teaching a concept.
Okay.
And then what they do is they switch the process. So for homework the night before, students will watch their teacher teaching a concept. And they'll
Okay.
practice it a little bit. Then they come into class the next day, and instead of starting the class by learning that concept, they start by doing problems. And the
Okay.
teacher circulates, and she's able to find out who needs help and who doesn't, and what specifically they might need to work on during that day. And I know what the Bosch grant did is actually provided us with funds for additional iPads, so that students who didn't have access to technology at home could bring them home with them, and have access to them during the school day as well. So the results in that class have been just
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh, I can't even imagine
Phenomenal.
how enthusiastic the kids must get about all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So 3 really nice projects: high school, middle school, elementary school.
Fantastic.
And hopefully, as I said, this pilot this year
Yeah.
at South
Yeah.
will be in all 3 schools next year. So fingers
Sounds good.
crossed.
So where did you find him?
Up north.
I was hiding in the woods.
He was up in Guilford.
My goodness.
Good
I
man.
like it. I like
Good
it.
man.
Yeah. Sounds great. Sounds like he's a keeper, Nate.
Yes.
You did good. Talk a little bit about the CIP,
Sure.
because that certainly has a lot of impact, hopefully,
Yes.
for the school district.
Sure.
What would you like to start with? I know
Well,
we've got 3 items on
Yeah,
there.
we do have 3, and I'm not sure what Kevin had said in the previous program, but I think what people have to understand is the CIP is a planning document, and it went into place a number of years ago to avoid conflict between town projects and school projects. And it goes out 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah, because we used to get into a town meeting,
Right.
and it would be, well, are we going to build a school or are we going to build a new fire station? And we'd
Correct.
fight over that. And now with
right.
the CIP,
And
there's the plan.
Absolutely, and the CIP committee gets together. The respective boards look at what they see as far as facility needs or maintenance needs. And
A
then
lot of which is submitted by department heads. And,
correct.
Yeah.
And then they go about the business of establishing priorities and trying to make sure that there is a minimal amount of conflict. So you're not dealing with a $10 million bond issue on the town side and a $10 million bond issue on the school side the same year.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of, in a sense, protecting the taxpayers. So it's
Leveling things out. Yeah.
correct. And so it's a really good planning document. So we come at it from the perspective, what do we see as upcoming facility needs? And of course, nothing has been voted on
Right.
in public. So, and
This is just the plan.
right, and it's really
Proposed
a
plan.
first step in saying to the general public, here's what the respective boards think are priorities over a 8, 9, 10-year period. So the board agreed to 3 priorities for us. One was an auditorium. Second was an SAU office. And the third was the potential of an elementary school. And I'll see if I can hit them in reverse order, if that's okay
sure,
with you.
absolutely.
Just to lay some groundwork. This summer has been a very interesting summer in that we have had 107 new student registrations from late spring
Wow,
to
to
now.
now.
And
so that we're not done then.
No.
No.
And what we're seeing is, as you know, since the early 2000s, our enrollment has been dropping each year.
Right, yeah.
As of today, and it's changing on a daily basis and it'll filter out, we have the same number of students today that we had last year on October 1.
Okay.
So for the first time in a long time, there has not been a decline. It's been static, and it's about 100 students more than we had predicted were going to be in
Okay,
the school
yeah.
district. What's interesting, and a lot of this is being driven by the new developments in
Oh,
town,
absolutely, yeah.
and also too, houses are beginning to turn over. All right.
So people are moving
out
after
and-
their seniors graduate, and others
in.
are coming in with the little
Right.
kids.
Perfect example is the house right across the street from me. I live up in the north end of town. Young couple moved in, 2 children. One is going to kindergarten, one is 2 years old. So there's a house that turned over,
Yep.
and ergo you're getting some students. But there's an interesting pattern that's showing up. 65% of the new registrations are either 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade.
Whoa.
20% are at the middle school level and 15% at the high school level. What's also very interesting, of all the new registrations, 29% were 1st graders. So
Wow.
what it's showing you is that on the people moving into town are moving in generally with younger families, whether it's new development or moving into an established home with people moving out. So that has some interesting ramifications for us because
Sure does.
a few months ago, John Vogel, who's he's our GIS guy and does some planning, was kind enough to meet with the school board and give them some data as to what we could expect as far as enrollment from the approved new developments, all right? So over a 3-year period, looks like we have the potential of 315 new students, of which 210 would be at the elementary level or the middle school level. So again, that pattern begins to show. People moving into town are at the primary level. So that is really without Woodmont starting up. The other interesting pattern is most of the new construction is in the north end of town, so all of that impacts North School. So at the last school board meeting, the school board approved an additional 1st grade teacher for North School, an additional 5th grade teacher for South School, and at a previous meeting they had already approved an additional teacher for North. So North got 2 new teachers because of the number of students that were moving in. So, and for the next 2 years, the big influx will be in the north end of town, and then it will begin to move more towards Matthew Thornton. Again, this is without Woodmont coming online. So the school board, in forecasting ahead and looking at what of our functional education capacity is in the school, is saying with all these new people moving in, it looks like we're going to get an uptick in enrollment. And with Woodmont coming online, we've got to give serious consideration to a new elementary school because we're going to exceed capacity. And we look at functional educational capacity, meaning each school has an art room, music room, gym, has space for special education, has small instructional spaces, has appropriate classrooms, computer lab. And we try to keep our primary classes at real low 20s and intermediate maybe a scoosh above 20, 23, 24, something like that. So, and then you multiply, then when you add all that up, you multiply it by a 0.95 because as you know, you get vagaries in grade levels. And so that impacts capacity. So that's a significant issue for us as we go forward. And we may reach a point before new elementary school where we may have to do some reorganization or redistricting because of the significant number of kids that are moving in the north end of town and the limits on that particular facility. So That
that
was
29% is mind-boggling.
yeah. Can you imagine that? 29% out
I
of
mean,
all.
I'm just picturing that bubble
Yeah.
going through all the
Right,
grades.
absolutely. So, and you know, what we had was 9, this was as of the end of last week, 9 new first graders at South, 15 new first graders at North School, and 7 new first graders at Matthew Thornton. So you can just see how it's working. And so what that's going to show us, I think, is those students are going to move through the district.
Right.
So those numbers are going to carry forward.
That's the, yeah.
And it appears the pattern, let's say with the new development coming in and with people moving into established
that
homes,
wave could continue.
it's going to continue. So will we be back at 6,000 students in the near future? I don't think so, but we're going to be moving up.
Right.
And what people have to remember is that in the days when we had 1,000 kids at Matthew Thornton, we had class sizes of 30 and 25. We had
I
kids,
do remember.
remember?
Yes,
It-
absolutely. Yeah.
Kids were being instructed in the boiler room, on the landings. There was no art room, there was no music room.
Yep.
And we did not have our in-district special education programs that are saving us next year over $7 million in tuition and transportation costs. So that's really a big, big issue. The SAU office is another thing online. It's housing now probably double the capacity, the number of people that it was originally designed for.
It was small to begin with.
Yes, and we affectionately call it the clam shack. And you know, it's not really the best facility in
I
the
keep
world.
expecting you to put that on the roof.
Pretty much, you know, and a takeout window on
Yeah.
the side. And there are, you know, certain air quality issues and the whole bit.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that we just don't have enough room.
Yeah, it was barely big enough to begin with.
Correct.
And I know you've made some changes internally.
Yes.
But it's just, it's so small.
Yeah, and just think of the additional space that's required for all our computer networks and servers, right? And so
Yeah,
that's
just equipment alone.
yeah, that's a big issue. So that's also on the agenda.
And you already moved your storage
Yes, we did.
elsewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
and-
there's not much more you can do in that area.
No, and we still use the beach in the high school, which is that basement that's got nothing but dirt and sand in it. We call it the beach.
A lot of people don't know we have a beach in the
That's
high school.
right.
We don't have a pool, but we have a beach.
Correct. So we're dealing with that issue. The third issue is another look at the auditorium as we go down a couple of
Yes.
years. We believe that the auditorium is not a want, but it's a need. We have a vibrant arts program, whether it's theater, music, what have you. We also,
And
as
no place to perform.
that's right. And we also, as you know from the auditorium report, various uses during the course of the school day for lectures,
Oh, yeah.
distance learning, the whole bit. So we think it's a real plus for the high school. So we're going to be taking another look at that down the road. We think it deserves a second look because there was never a vote. It was only one vote, and that was for architectural and engineering costs.
Well, I think the other thing that a lot of people don't realize, because they may not have been here at the time, but when we built the high school, 1972, I think, when we built the high school in 1972, it was 5 phases.
Correct.
Phase 5 was an auditorium.
Right.
And we never got there, okay, for one reason or another. Other things were growing too fast, we were addressing other needs in town, and we never got to that auditorium. So it's not like this is something someone dreamed up a couple years ago.
Correct.
It's something that we have always felt should be part of that school.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%. And it has extremely viable academic pluses for the students at the high school. It has community purpose service.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it would be something that would be really an excellent addition.
To
And
the community as well
yes.
as to the school.
yeah, and we believe enhance the program. And you know, you don't like to compare one district to the other, but I believe we're the only Division I high school that does not
Doesn't
have an auditorium.
Yeah.
And If you look around at all the other high schools, they use it for a multitude of purposes. It's very effective.
Yep.
It's great instructional space. It's great performance space. And not only will it serve the high school, but it can also serve the middle school and our elementary schools. So that's on the agenda. So it's not like anybody's sneaking it in. It's right
I
up
know.
front.
Yeah.
And it's several years down the road. And as the process that we have always used, at least since I've been here, and this is my 17th year,
My goodness.
yeah, when we do a bond issue for a project, we do it in stages. The first one is to go to the school district meeting and ask funds for architectural and engineering costs. Then what we're able to do is come back the following year with a guaranteed maximum price. So you don't run into an issue that has occurred in some other towns. Well, we'd like you to vote on a bond for $5 million,
And
then
oh, whoops.
and then whoops, all of a sudden you got to go back to the voters for 6, 7. All the construction projects we have done, whether it's the kindergarten, the renovation and addition to the high school, North School,
Yep, they've all been
South
done that
School,
way.
all of them been done that way. All have come in under or right on budget and have been completed on time. So we got a really good track record. And so it's a good method for doing it.
Yeah.
And it gives people a good opportunity to say, okay, what do you need it? What's its purpose? How much is it going to cost?
And I
So-
think, I'm glad that we're talking about it, and we talked about it with Kevin earlier, because it's concerning to me that people don't understand the process, and I think that that's up to us to make sure that they understand.
Yes.
We can't expect that they're just going to go, oh, I get it. We have to explain that.
Right.
And I saw a couple of letters to the editor in the Londonderry Times, and people thinking that this was being snuck in
Right.
after they had voted no, and things are going to keep coming up.
Yeah.
You vote on something. If we didn't have a second or third vote on things, we wouldn't have a school in this community.
Correct.
Because every single one of them has gone to a second or third vote.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with the fire stations and everything else. A lot of times you got to go back. And people, sometimes we just bring them more information.
Right.
Sometimes we trim costs. Sometimes we make other adjustments to make it more palatable. But never, never is it being snuck in
No.
under the radar, because there's so much in the process that is open. The CIP process is wide open. Anybody can go to those meetings
Correct.
and watch what's going on, or you can watch it on TV. The same thing with, when it comes up, it's going to be an article on a warrant, so there's going to be tons of discussion ahead of
Correct.
time about what that's all about, what it entails, and then not only do you have the deliberative session to talk about it, but you have the vote.
Yes.
So you're never going to get snuck in. Just want to reassure people of that. You're going to have
Absolutely.
lots of opportunities. And
agree.
go to websites.
Yep.
We drove them to the town website to see what's going on there. School website is awesome as well. Go to the Londonderry.org for the school website and see what's going on. There's always information there. And they have phones too.
Yes.
You can call them.
Absolutely. And now that you mentioned website, what we're also pleased to announce is that
Good segue.
we have completely revamped our website. We had done some work last year, and we had a number of people express concerns about the ability to navigate it. We have a completely new website now. It's easy to use. We think it really extends the brand of our school district. And what's also good is you can download it to your phone. So you can
okay.
really, and then just have it show up on your phone, and then you can go
Yep,
right to
yep.
it. So, and we're populating it now. It's going to get better and better as we go through, but it's really good. And the focus really is on our kids, because you'll have scrolling pictures across the top with activities the kids have been participating in. There's plenty of information on it about the schools and what's going on. And our Twitter feed is right on the front, and the Twitter
Okay,
feed for
yeah.
each of the schools is right on the home page. Same thing for athletics and music and so on. And also our YouTube channels are all there too. So You know, it's really cool.
You are definitely in the new century.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. I'm not so sure I am.
I know
but
I'm
they
not,
are.
Nate, so.
You know, if I had my
I'm like,
if I had my way, I'd go back to rotary phones. So, but that's just me.
rotary phones, and I am still all about the pen and paper.
You got
I
it.
really like that.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Dottie.
Well, if I write it down, it seems to stick
Yes.
up here better too. So,
Correct.
but
Correct.
that sounds now. I can't remember. Did it say I what? I read.
Oh, I ready.
I ready.
Yes.
I ready.
Yes.
Okay. I'm reading the headline in my head. Okay. Yeah. Tell us about that.
In the middle of our rollout on iReady, it's an assessment and instruction system that's computer-based.
Okay.
We piloted last year in second, third, and sixth grade and had fantastic results. What we did is we compared the assessment results that we got from iReady to the existing assessments that we were using
Okay.
already. And
Already?
Very,
Cute.
very accurate. So we were actually able
Okay.
to eliminate some of the assessments that we were using. We're not any more fans of over-testing kids than the kids are.
Yeah.
So we were able to eliminate a few things that we were doing. What it really does, probably the most straightforward way to put it, is it sort of takes the place of some of the formative assessment pieces that we've used for years, like a workbook. So a workback activity.
Yeah.
I think one of the reporters I spoke to, I use that as an example. Whereas normally a student might do a workbook exercise in a mathematical concept, turn it into the teacher, and the teacher might correct it, hand it back. What we do now is the teacher will teach the concept, and then the students will go on iReady, and they will do an assignment on the computer.
Oh, okay.
And what happens is the teacher gets real-time information on which students understood what parts they understood, what parts
Yeah.
they didn't understand, and the teacher can, in real time, develop instructional groups. So the teacher might look at it and say, okay, these 4 kids really aren't getting, two-digit multiplication. So I'm going to work with the 4 of you over here. I'm going to show you this one concept. Subgrouping is something we've done for years.
Yes. Yeah.
What happened before was in order for the teacher to make up those
Figure it
groups,
out. Yeah,
had to figure it out.
totally, yeah.
They had paper all, I know I did it, papers all over the coffee table at
yeah,
home, and
yeah,
all right, boy,
yeah.
what does this person understand and what don't they? This disaggregates the data for teachers in a way that's much faster, much more efficient, and it's accurate, so that then they can tailor their instruction. It's great for things like remediation. The student needs more work on this
Yeah.
because the computer system will actually adapt the assignments for you within parameters that the teacher sets. Or you've got that student who might be a little more advanced and might be ready for something new. So it'll bump that student ahead, give them more challenging work,
Keep them
and send
interested.
a report to the teacher and say, hey, here's a student who's way ahead of you, and they might need some more enriched work.
Wow.
So-
Every year we do more and more to actually bring those children to their full potentials.
It's one of those examples of a really solid use of technology in the
Yes,
instructional
yeah,
environment.
yeah.
We know sometimes we're guilty of sort of chasing fads, and something will come out and it's, well, let's try this new software.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah.
This isn't one of those things.
yeah,
This is really streamlining.
It's solid. Okay.
Yeah, yep,
It
good stuff.
Sounds fantastic.
We're pretty excited about it. I know that teachers are doing a lot of training this summer, and
And we were just
we're
talking
coming
about that earlier, about
Yes.
teachers and how they don't have the summer off. They really don't. They work, they study,
yeah.
they're planning. So you won't find too many of them just sitting around by the pool doing nothing.
Yeah, if you drive by any one of our schools in the summer, there's a lot of
And
cars
this-
in the
yeah,
parking lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Besides, they got to keep a step ahead of him. So, anything else going on that you'd like to talk about?
Just to remind everybody, our teachers are back the 24th of August,
Oh, jeez.
and our learners are on the 29th. Our students come back on the 29th.
And then
August.
summer's over.
Yep, pretty much. And we're excited. We're looking forward to having our learners come back. We're looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing our full faculty and staff on the 24th. We've got,
I keep waiting for my full faculties to come back.
yeah, you and me both, Dottie. You and me both. And so we're really excited about the start of the new
Yeah.
school year. Our maintenance and custodial staff have been going gangbusters. When
They're
people,
fantastic.
Yeah.
You got such a great group there.
they are super, and we've completed a bunch of major projects during the summer.
Yeah.
The buildings have been cleaned, painted, about 1,200 yards of new carpeting, if I remember what Chuck had said.
Yeah.
We've upgraded the video system at the high school,
Yes, I saw that.
right? And we're a year ahead because
The security.
Yep,
Yeah.
the security system. We're a year ahead because Chuck worked very diligently and got a grant, so that allowed us to move a year ahead.
Another grant.
Yep, and so we're going there. We're in good shape there. All the roofing work has been completed on Moose Hill. A good portion of the roofing work has been completed at the high school. We'll finish it up next year. New lighting. The one issue that we're dealing with, which I think every homeowner is the drought this year. So our reservoir, our ponds back that we use for irrigation are really, really way down. So we've cut back on the watering even on a game field. So we're just trying to monitor that, and we're hoping we get some rain before school starts, not the first day of school.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, 'cause it's hard to maintain
Yeah,
those fields when you
so-
can't keep them
Yes.
watered and keep those roots
But,
solid.
everybody's dealing
Yeah.
with the same
Yeah,
issue. It's just a
exactly.
very dry summer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, somebody
set.
told me the other day we're like 10 inches lower than we're supposed
be
to be.
surprised.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, yeah. I know my lawn looks like a hayfield, so and so in one sense it's good. I don't have to mow.
Well, it's only been mowed once this year for
yeah,
that because it's not growing.
yeah. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, got a couple
So-
of weeds growing out there. But
So in closing, we're just excited about having faculty come back in a couple of weeks, kids coming back in a couple of weeks. We think we're going to have a really good year. We're going to push to maintain or improve our college acceptance rate, which
yeah.
the last in graduating class of 2016 was 94%. So we're going to continue push there. Again, dual credit courses, a huge number at the high school. A lot of great curriculum work going on at the middle school and instruction going on in the middle school. Same thing at the elementary school. So we're moving ahead and continuing to provide our kids with top quality programs and services. And
well, it's highly possible that your population at the high school will go down because as Scott continues with all of these innovations in technology, you'll probably be graduating kids by the end of the 8th grade.
There you go.
Going off to college.
Well,
Absolutely.
the good news is that's why we have those advanced credits from the colleges,
so
so
you
they can
can-
graduate with an associate's degree.
That's,
right?
Yep, absolutely,
You got it.
absolutely. It's fantastic. So, okay
it.
then, sounds good. And I'm looking forward to talking to you next month and see how that
Yeah.
start of school went. And
great.
And thank you very much for both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
you.
And if you have any questions that you'd like us to cover in one of our shows, just let us know. There is information to contact us at the end of the show. And we welcome your questions. It is transparency in government, so we want to tell you whatever it is you want to know. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.